Good afternoon, everyone. 1958 is where you would have seen this advertisement. Noctilucent clouds, brightest in the last 15 years. Tokyo, earliest end of the rainy season on record to Kyushu Island. Then suddenly, record-breaking 400-year rainfall, 4.7 inches every single hour. Same place. Chemical shortages now in the U.S., as I was predicting. Herbicides and pesticides, crop yields going lower. Forget moving LNG to trade off something from Europe on the chemical side. Force majeure strikes again. Chlorine and caustic plastic soda, things you could use to make pesticides. We might have to rewrite a few things, including why, in this painting from 1562, we see Brontosaurus or some sorts of dinosaurs being ridden in the background. And there shall be signs in the sky. We're seeing it happen in real time. Get ready, September. And I'm not sure when this was released in 1958, but knowing that this was even possible and paid for ad space in a publication that I'm glad somebody posted up on Telegram and I snatched the photos. The disappeared history, just even from the 1958 era. Where do you find this? And I know you wanted to see the top, so here we go. Coming home with groceries with Fido in the back. Every family with an anti-gravitics device. Oh wait, you don't need to buy any petrol. It's running on the Earth's magnetic field. Gee, I wonder if we could produce electricity with the same devices. And another mysterious blast from the past. This painting is from the year 1562. Quite the interesting image. Going to zoom in on a couple different areas here. Just generally off the cliff and then the castle in the center of the river. And if you follow the river up, it looks very much like Prague or somewhere Eastern Europe. Yet you have the vertical cliff faces with the castle on top and the watchtower about halfway down the hill. Something out of Game of Thrones mixed time periods together. Now that's interesting in itself. You can pause the screen and look. But this 1562 painting depicts humans riding what to appear as a Brontosaurus. So two things spring to mind. A, if this was a Brontosaurus, how large were those people riding a Brontosaurus? 20-ton animal. Or was it something that was smaller in stature, Brontosaurus family? But who would have known this? Because what we're fed as history is nobody ever dug up dinosaurs until the late 1800s. So what are they doing 300 years prior to that? Digging up dinosaurs, knowing fully intact even what types of skin they had. Interesting image, lost history. Just like we lost history from the 1950s that's not readily available, or the writings of Nikola Tesla in every grade school. So I'm questioning what cycles are known amongst the same elite and Vatican academics that know it is here again. And that's why I think we're seeing everything play out right now. If you knew the natural cycle was here, grand solar minimum based, on top of another heavier, more powerful cycle that was really going to shift our society naturally anyway, what would you do? Well, if you were going to control the decline and a reset into a new era, you do exactly what's happening right now. Yet there's a few more steps that need to be accomplished to do that, namely taking down the economy and then resetting it so you can get a timeline moving forward along with the food prices for the rest of the video here and what the inputs are for the food to grow it. But what else has disappeared in history? What has been rewritten? Who knows what cycles? Because it sure looks like there's a lot of foretold knowledge of it's changing right now. How many biblical scriptures or ancient references, belief systems are pointing to this time right now? And a quick word from our sponsor. Weight management is a universal struggle. After we turn 20, the struggle becomes more difficult. That's because our body's metabolism slows by as much as 4% per decade. The keto diet has an extensive list of health benefits for healthy metabolism, heightened energy levels, and increased mental clarity and focus. That's why I highly recommend this amazing keto powder. It works to increase the level of ketones in your body without ever needing to be on a keto diet. And the best thing about it is it comes with free VIP live health and fitness coaching for life and a free e-report titled The Top 14 Ketogenic Foods. And if you want to support your healthy metabolism for the next 24 hours, take 51% off your order by going to adaptwithketo.com. Free shipping, money back guarantee. That link's in the description box below. And now on with the video. So would it be a sign in the sky, noctilucent clouds, brightest in the past 15 years? Yeah, but they're here every year. First observed in 1855. See, again, was this not a categorized type of cloud that nobody had ever seen until 1855? Goes right along with the Brontosaurus. Like, really, you're telling me a painting from the 1500s has Brontosaurus plus giants riding it? Lots of missing history here. And if we do look at the frequency of noctilucent clouds, days from the solstice, December 21st, June 21st, the 2022 red line in that 2007 to 2021 baseline average for frequency of noctilucent clouds, courtesy of NASA, way up above the normal. Don't ask any questions, just look at it. Pretty clouds, another clay pigeon for you to aim at to distract during this tumultuous time. And I love this one off the Watchers here. I pulled out that paragraph. The sharp spike in the frequency, they're not yet clear what caused the huge spike. Okay, electrified skies, I'll guess. They try to say it's because of more water vapor from higher latitudes from more rocket launches. Okay, there's a direct effect. If you're telling me this year's amount of rocket launches have put that many more visible clouds in the sky that you can see literally with your eyes in just less than a year of transition, and we're down here yapping about trace gases, but the water vapor high up is producing those types of clouds, nobody's going to talk about that. Okay, back to your battery-powered Tesla. Don't look up. But I mean, you wouldn't want to look up because these are such beautiful clouds. And not only is it the most seen in the last 15 years, but the size and all breadth scope of the sky. You know, usually you would see these and it's a portion of the sky, although be it sometimes all the sky. But what we're seeing here is the normal right now. You would see a wafting section, but it is far above the normal. So what is really causing it? You cannot tell me that much water vapor from rockets. Really, like, there must be a full-on secret space program delivering thousands and thousands and thousands of rocket launches going out or orbit or beyond to produce this much. Really? I can't buy it. What's the real elephant in the room here? Coming off Reuters, the chemical shortages now. See, I'd spoken ad nauseum 8 months ago, 9 months ago about the fertilizer shortage coming in. It was going to hit in June. And we're going to get the final planting and it's going to start rocking markets. And look at the economy. There's so much contraction. There's so much based on food production. And now at farmers, from this point, this is chapter 2 I had also in ad nauseum talked about. Herbicides, pesticides will not be there, so more critters are going to nibble everything. You scatter a bunch of weeds in there, that yield is down. Put 100 million grasshoppers or worms or caterpillars in there, slugs, corn beetles, let them go to town. No resistance, just let everything go. How much do you think you'll get out of there? So cutting back on common weed killers, and they're going to be spraying smaller volumes of herbicides and pesticides and fungicides, which means there's going to be more losses because of the blight, the mold, the insects, the overgrowth of non-target species plants like grasses and broadleafs. Broadleafs are just big weeds that have bigger leaves, grass straight up. And then in addition, you're going to have to add that to the grain supplies, grain shortages from the Black Sea area. These are the next big things to think about. Now, the glyphosate, that's for the weed control, reached $50, $60 a gallon, up from 20, so that's a 3x increase. But, you know, look at Bayer, they're reporting glyphosate-based products, particularly strong record earnings for first quarter. They're obviously getting the inputs for agriculture to produce the product, Is this supply chain based only, goes to certain companies only now? Is that it? You get preferential treatment? And look at BASF. Just their quarterly sales was up 21%. I bet by the end of the year, as we go through 2 more quarters, that'll be 51 and then 101. You know they're passing that on to you in the supermarket. So then you can add on to all those calls that I was making that have come to fruition so quickly, and I am scared myself, pit of my stomach. I'm just here today, and I know we're in July. It's going, oh, this is all going to hit and roost at home in September. So what's going to happen next is you're going to start, this is the priming for you so you understand crop yield losses, declines, wipeouts, non-harvesting, scent for animal food. This is your primer right here. They're telling you, get ready for lower yields and even total losses in some areas. Farmers can't plant. They didn't have fertilizer. Farmer couldn't plant. They don't have the herbicides and pesticides. They're slow drip feeding into the general populace because everybody knows about the fertilizer now. They're getting a lot of stories, and just the average person on the street understands food's costing way more money, and Russia stopped the fertilizer, and the corn's not coming out of someplace, the Black Sea, put a dot on the map there, but people just have the general idea of those major events. So it's already been primed for the world to understand that there's some problem with the food. Well, those who are trading or understand this type of news that delve a little bit deeper will see there's a serious, very succinct timeline going on with this. So as we're coming in now, the planting season was June 15th, approximate is kind of the very end of when everybody's planted. They can give their reports to the USDA on what they actually planted versus what they planned to plant. So those intention planting surveys, or the intention to plant surveys that are sent out way in the wintertime, the farmers fill it out and say, yeah, I'm going to plant 100 acres of corn when it comes into the spring. I've done it for the last 120, 150 years with our family. But this year they didn't have the fertilizer and the seed supply shortage, and all those other things were already happening well in time of this. So farmers either switched over to like soybean because they didn't use as much fertilizer, or they didn't plant. And it skewed everything. So none of those surveys make any sense or worth a grain of salt anymore because they changed so significantly. I mean, gargantuan changes. Probably 60% of all the farmers had changed their intent because they couldn't get the input. And now with record high diesel prices, now we're swinging into the chemical shortages. Fertilizer is one thing. You planted, plants are coming up, cool. Whatever you got in the ground, if you have enough rain, if you don't, okay. Plants are growing. But now you need to protect your plants. That planting and thing with this fertilizer and seed and all that, that's just one phase of it. Now we're coming into the wipeout phase from natural pests and also competition plants. USDA is going to do their next crop tours, and as they roll through August, it's the bottom's going to drop out of what is considered stable food production at that point. And then we come into the delivery contract months of September, and I think September 16th of this year is when you can take physical delivery of your corn. It's just not going to be there, and then the prices are going to spike, and farmers are going to have to cover if they pledge to the CBOE, and then clearinghouses are going to have to cover because they have an open contract. And you're going to get this bidding war up so people can close out their contracts and not get fined every day. So the prices are going to run like a scalded dog. And I mean, seriously, you're going to see things that you are not thought possible happen in September with pricing. And from that point forward, Humpty Dumpty never goes back together again. Ever. This is just a precursor to it. So you still have a couple months, but then the devaluation of the currency and all these things happen in Europe and the cutoff of gas. And it just seems like whatever thumb screws were there, they just twisted, ratcheted down. They ratcheted 2 more twists down heavy. That's where we're sitting. It is really going to get painful coming up here. So please prepare yourselves. And I do say that with all honesty, like, you're going to need storable foods coming up. You're going to have to get food supplies. I don't care where you get it. But if you want something pre-packaged 3-month emergency food supply, you can jump over to My Patriot Supply. That link's in the description box below. 25-year shelf life. But even if you get it on your own, please get food. You're really going to have food. Please get some, regardless of the source. Because with that herbicide and pesticide already shortage. Now we're having all these companies that can't deliver the chemicals into the whole process. There's another whole shortage chain coming inbound right now. Force majeure, Westlake chlorine, and all grades of caustic plastic soda. So then you start to look into what chlorine's used for, and there's also some pesticides inside there. And it looks like just anything for farm inputs to protect the plants that are in the field. And then what are all the industrial applications for that as well are going to cease. Factories are going to close further, less product, more expensive, and it's just this downward supply chain debacle. And if you want to get really granular here from Westlake, the chloralkali production, and then you can find directly what is an unanticipated failure, not only on their critical processing equipment, but whatever else downstream or upstream is going to be involved in using that for our farm inputs. Ethylene dichloride is the final that is going to hit first. Biden administration halting the second largest U.S. LNG, liquefied natural gas plant, from restarting. Update. Remember when they had that big fire and they said, oh, it'll be up in a couple months. Now it's going to maybe take even 12 months from now. Risk to public safety. Another 9 months, 12 months. We're way into summer next year. And that's what we were using somewhat as a tradable for Europe for their chemicals to bring back here for our farm inputs to try to synthesize, blend those, and get them out to the farmers. Now forget the dollar value. Dollar means nothing now. That was a physical commodity that could have traded for another physical commodity. Whatever chemicals it was, or pesticides or herbicides, they could have sent a tanker over and got a 1-for-1 on that. You bring it back to the States, we need the pesticides. You know, I'm not a fan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan at all. I'm not a fan of, killing the environment, dumping a bunch of stuff on it we don't need to when there's better farming practices and rotation agriculture. I get it. But as the way it's done now, that's like somebody coming hard stop off of a substance, traumatic and dangerous. Same thing. You can't go from complete agribusiness to zero in a single year without catastrophe beyond what happened in Sri Lanka. But you see, that LNG was a very useful thing to trade to get some of the chemicals we need to protect our food supply. And it's gone now for another 12 months. See, this, it seems like it's almost, on purpose. Watchers, earliest end of the rainy season in Tokyo on record. And I grabbed this slide a couple days ago. And I was like, in Kyushu and up near Tokyo, the rainy season ended 18 days earlier than the average. But it only went back to 1951. And I said, okay, well, maybe that's an outlier. I might put it in a video somewhere. And lo and behold, not an outlier, a 400-year rain record broken in this same location. They thought the rainy season had ended. They'd put it in the record books, it's done. And then suddenly, 400-year record rain. Look at that, 4.7 inches per hour. That's a massive turnaround. Those are the kind of things that we're looking for in terms of extremes here, moving through, amplifying through the next year. And if you want to check out some of the links, I'm doing research while I do these videos, put them together, I throw them in there into the Telegram, Adapt 2030 channel. Hope you can join me over there. I do appreciate you watching. Hope you got something out of the video. We're dangerously close to the end. As we continue down this trajectory, we're going to switch to new systems, but this old one is going to stop. I'm just saying that at the end. We're at the end of the current system. There's going to be a stoppage and then a restartage. BRICS are going to have the money in the basket. We're going to be begging for imports, so get ready. September's your last time. There's really no time after September. Wish you the best, and I'll see you next video. Bye for now.